Welcome to MotivationU the Podcast. My name is Bob Ganzak, and we come to you every Thursday right here from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill at Celebration Point. One of the most incredible places, and I don't think I've talked enough about this facility, the people, the food, the ambiance. It's just absolutely incredible. And the growth of Celebration Point is just amazing. New buildings help one another grow. And that's something that I'd like to discuss today. We have not chosen a topic, so I want to pick Jose's brain a little bit. He sent me a text. Was that late last night you sent me a text, or early this morning?
This morning, yeah.
Early this morning, and asked me if I was going to be in Gainesville anytime soon. And I said I'd happen to be there today. So he didn't know this, but he was going to be on the program anyway. So whatever his conversation that he wanted to have with me, we're going to have it now. So Mr. Entrepreneur, engineering student, Dale Carnegie advocate and student himself, Mr. Jose Raven. Welcome to the program, Jose.
Thank you so much for having me, Bob.
I really always love far northeastern part of Venezuela? Northwestern part of Venezuela. I'm sorry.
In the border.
Yeah, way on the border of Colombia and Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
And came here in what year?
2018.
2018. So you've been in the States for 4 years now.
Yeah.
Have you gotten your citizenship here? Or?
No, I'm a temporary protected status. I had a visa. I was on a student visa, but they have requirements for visas. So you have to take 12 credits, and you have a lot of have-tos.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I decided that I wanted to start my business, I wanted to take a break, take one class instead of 4 or 5, and that was my shift. Went from the student visa to the TPS,
Okay.
it's called.
A friend of mine that works for Dale Carnegie Training, Svetlana came from Bulgaria and has been, I believe, here for 13 years. And this past weekend, she became a U.S. citizen, dual citizenship. Just a remarkable, wonderful person. And
That's awesome.
I think that's cool. So hopefully someday you'll get to that point and you know, you already are a part of everything that we do here. It's incredible the way you have intertwined yourself. So what do you want to talk about today? Why were you wondering if I was going to be here?
Actually, I just wanted to spend some time with you and say hi and say, you know, ask how things are going and just talk about life. I didn't have any
subject matter or anything. See, Tammy is sitting over here, our producer and engineer. Tammy is a UCF student, journalism, broadcasting graduate, and is just starting her career doing an internship here at Spurrier's and with Make It Happen Weeby Marketing, Freddie Weeby's company. But she's kind of laughing because she's seeing that I'm putting Jose on the spot and just, hey, let's do that. We got to get out of our comfort zone every once in a while. And maybe before Tammy travels back to wherever she is going to build her career from there, maybe we can have her sit in the hot seat one time and have a discussion like this.
That's a good topic. I like that topic.
Which is?
Getting uncomfortable, getting out of the comfort zone.
We have to learn how to have those conversations, you know, where we do that. The book How to Win Friends and Influence People has now come out as an updated version. I was listening to it on the way down here. I haven't got to any of the real new parts of it yet, so I'm still hearing some of the things that Mr. Carnegie, you know, had talked about back in 1936 when he wrote the foreword to it. And you know, when he talks about the fact that he started his company as a public speaking forum where people could, you know, build their confidence by getting on their feet, and it basically, my words, morphed into a human relations book. it's incredible how many people still struggle with that opportunity to tell their story.
Yeah.
To really be able to articulate their story in the industry that they work in.
Yeah, I can talk for that because I realized it the last few weeks. I didn't have any kind of education or training or tips on how to have a conversation, how to introduce myself, how to say or communicate whatever message I want to communicate. I didn't have any kind of rules. It was just kind of spontaneous thing that you gotta do, and you know, as it happens. And so now I see the difference after taking the course, reading the book, learning from you. I see the difference when I interact with others. I have a framework that I can use, a big framework that I can rely on, and it's a different thing. It's a game changer having that kind of like a science that I can use.
You know, Jose, those 30 human relations principles that we discuss in the Dale Carnegie classes, you know, starting with, you know, don't criticize, condemn, or complain, and ending with, you know, making the other person happy. You know, those everything in between. I've always said that, you know, a quiver, you know, where you carry a quiver is something that you carry arrows in. You know, it's a little carry case. Most of us live our lives with maybe one or two arrows in our quiver. One or two things that we fall back on a consistent basis, that when we get into a tough situation, this is our go-to way of handling it. And one of the things that I've discovered from being an instructor for Dale Carnegie is that we give people a larger quiver. You know, we've expanded it. We're the one that most of us carry. All you need to do is put two arrows in it, and that's it. Yet this one is more like a huge backpack, where you have these 30 arrows in there that you're able to really think, plus much more, the stress principles and everything else that you're taught in the program.
Yeah.
But we really need to have those options, those different things, because life happens all the time, and you can't always use the same way of fixing the problem. And, you know, I posted on Facebook the day the Einstein quote about you know, we can't use the same mentality to fix the problems that we used when we created them, right? So we've got to shift and evolve.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
I didn't even have one arrow.
You didn't have one arrow in the quiver.
I was just getting sticks and stuff and just throwing whatever I could find. And I didn't know that there was a way. That's the main thing. Like my family, there's a lot of relatives that don't talk. And it's just a normal thing. And there's a lot of, like 3-5 of them that they
don't talk at all, or they don't talk to each other.
Like there's a family, we're in a family reunion, and everybody's having a good time, talking, playing, whatever. And then there's some relatives that are just sitting in a chair, just seeing, you know, just experiencing what's happening. And it goes all the way from my grandfather to me. I was that way, and now I'm getting uncomfortable and trying to crush that boundary. And I realized that it was just in my mind.
Yep.
Now at first it was hard to do it with my family and with my friends, because those were the relationships that I've always been that way for so long. And with strangers, it was completely different. I felt comfortable. Now I'm starting to do it with my family and saying what I think and trying to interact with my family right now in just groups, like, because they live in Venezuela.
Right.
But now I feel more confidence thanks to the arrows. I didn't have any. That's what I realized. I didn't have any kind of go-to method to communicate. I was just didn't even want to.
But I was a very similar type of childhood. I was always taught little boys are to be seen and not heard. I probably heard that from my parents thousands of times. So eventually I started to believe it. And the unfortunate thing is that I was probably only 5 or 6 when I had already heard it 1,000 times. So it was kind of ingrained in me where I didn't speak up. Yet when I look back on those times from all the way until I was in my mid to late 30s when I found the Dale Carnegie program, I observed things more. There's a book by Andy Andrews, great author, called The Noticer. And in that book, it's a tremendous book to read. In that book, he just talks about the things that happen in our lives that maybe we don't notice and why it's important to notice them. And when I read the book, I didn't read it until like just a few years ago. I thought back, that's my life right there. I mean, I can remember going to Epcot Center with my family when my kids were really young and just looking at people's feet from around the world. And this was the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, before, the internet and everything else, gave us the opportunity to see things like shoes. And, Nike was a fairly new company. And I had known Adidas for a while, and then there was Puma and other. And I was like, I wonder where they're from, because we don't have those shoes that are available in this country. And it was just to notice things. So my point to you, Jose, is think back on those parts of your life and take advantage of the fact that you were introverted and you didn't speak out. Look back on the things that you obtained, the skills, the observation skills, the listening skills, the conversations that you listened to and you didn't verbalize your thought process into.
Yeah.
And continue to hone those skills while you develop your new skills. I mean, that you become a more well-rounded person. This is MotivationU the Podcast, sitting here with Jose Raven, a young entrepreneur, wonderful individual. And a couple of things that we have coming up. September 13th, coming to Gainesville is another Dale Carnegie program, and you can find that at jacksonville.dalecarnegie.com. It's on the website. Go ahead and register. We have a couple of people already signed up, and there will be more coming. That'll be at the Hotel Indigo starting Tuesday night, the 13th of September. We do have some programs that we have not set the dates for Jacksonville, I think we have 2 classes coming up in Jacksonville, one in Valdosta, working on one in Lake City, one in Tifton, Georgia. A lot of things happening right now. So please go to the website, sign up for the programs, be a part of it. What Jose and I are talking about is that program. And this podcast is about leadership, about the qualities and the things that make strong leaders. And you don't have to be huge names to be a great leader. You can lead in all different aspects. Lead up the ladder, lead down the ladder. And that's something that we talk a lot about in class, is the leadership and how you really build a rapport and gain people's willing cooperation before you get to that. What are some of the things from the program, Jose, that stick out the most in your brain?
Well, first, I'm a salesperson for Dale Carnegie, informally. Whoever I talk to, because it's also personal, something that I experienced a big change in my personality. So I'm always selling it. I tell the whole story, and I talk about the principles, experiences that I've had with the principles. So just to complement the comment about the training and for the leadership, so I realized that just by using the principles, I've had a positive impact on many people around me, friends and family, not even with the intention of having the impact. Mm-hmm. Just by using the principles, and then in a conversation they just mention it, and I'm impressed. I'm like, I didn't even think that I had an impact, and you know,
how do I win friends and influence people? And it's not a manipulation, or it's not trying to control somebody. It's just living your life that way.
Yeah.
Mr. Carnegie says in the foreword of his book that this is an action. This isn't just to learn. It's something to do. It's one thing to learn all of the principles. That's cool. Wow. All right. I've got all this knowledge. If you don't apply the knowledge, it's useless.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it, especially in this world of what we're talking about, because everything is an application type of product, which makes it kind of interesting. Something I was thinking about on my way here to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill today was, the big thing right now is fasting. You see these people on these diets, they're fasting, right? I read one thing on Twitter. One gentleman is starting 48 hours of fasting, and it's the new diet, whatever they want to do. That helps people lose weight, hopefully become healthier. I'll let the doctors out there debate that. I'm not going to be involved in that. Yet in our world, sometimes, wouldn't it be great to fast from social media, from phones, from television, especially television. There are so many people that are binge watching, and they wear it as a badge of honor and bravery and courage. Well, I binge watched this show for the whole weekend. What opportunities did you miss to grow? Well, that's 72 hours that you watched umpteen shows. What opportunity did you let slip away from you? That's time you can never get back. So I'm thinking about, this. I was telling Evan, what I'd like to do in my own world is take 2 weeks, go to a rustic cabin in northern Georgia with no television, no social media, no Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, nothing, and just write on my computer thoughts for a couple of weeks, just me and the dog, and no interaction with humans, whatsoever. I just bring enough food, water to last me for 2 weeks, and just be there, and then write about it, and then come back and talk about it on the podcast, and how it went, and what we could do. I just think that cleansing of the mind are things that we need today.
Yeah.
Because the world is just throwing too much at us at once.
Like crazy.
I do a lot of journaling, on here, and I found myself last night just, I could have written 3 pages of just words of things going on like podcast and blog and Facebook and, this person's name and that person's name and this drama and that drama and this newscast and that newscast. I mean, it's just like, whew.
It's crazy.
It's okay to step away from it for a while. How do you get away from it?
So from social media, I used to use it a lot. Instagram. Before the pandemic, during the pandemic, I was alone in my apartment by myself, using it's like a drug.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I said, I was in depression, I was going crazy, and I started taking fasts. And then I would take days without the phone, like put the phone on a drawer for the whole day. And I would wake up 5 a.m., phone in the drawer, and I would get the phone 10 p.m. and I would spend the whole day in my apartment without the phone, without anything, just the computer and just studying and that kind of stuff. And the energy that I had, how clear my mind was, I was way more productive that way. So since that time, I stopped using social media. Instagram, I do use Facebook mostly for business and for your posts. I always see them. I get the notifications. And it's helpful. It helps me to learn. But I feel it's dopamine
I agree with
sparks
you.
that we just need that dopamine to get satisfaction, pleasure, whatever. And sometimes doing work is not pleasure, and we just get in the habit to get the phone and start getting that dopamine with each post that we see. And so I'm fasting from that, and I don't plan going back.
One of the things that that really just like leaps out at me as you talk is just how ordinary people just like you and me, that are just folks, just people that live. We didn't come from wealth or any incredible background. We're just people. Yet we can make an impact. And I started reading last night about some of the individuals who were just ordinary people that impacted the world. Because I hear all the time, I can't do that, or I don't have the time to do that, which I think that quote, I don't have the time to do that, is just, I don't want to do it, because we all have the same amount of time, right? We all have the same amount of time. And yet when you start looking at some ordinary people that impacted the world, I mean, Rosa Parks, just somebody that decided to sit on a certain seat on a bus. It wasn't like, that she had a doctorate in disruptive world politics, She just decided that she wasn't going to move. And because of her strength and her perseverance, we shifted an entire nation of how things happen. And now this person's name, I mean, I think of 12th Street in Detroit. Part of it is Rosa Parks Boulevard. Just an ordinary person. So when we look at things, you can make a difference. You can make a difference. I can make a difference in this world. Tammy can make a difference. We just need to say, okay, I'm going to do this. And it's the small little things. Who are some of the people that have made a difference in your world that maybe don't have huge names?
My mom, she gave me that need for excellence, for going always the extra mile. So she has been, I would say, my strongest influence, and that's how I got here, basically, because she always pushed me to go for more. My mom, then my brother, my oldest brother, always loves me without any condition, supports me in everything that I want to do, defends me, is always there. Then other than family, I think those are the most influential. Then obviously you come right next.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's really life-changing what I've learned from you. All of the experiences from the Dale Carnegie course. First time I took it, I was another person.
Yes, you were. Yeah.
And second time I took it, I was another person again. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the most influential moments that I had during the second time. That conversation that we had, it took me apart, and I didn't really even have an idea of what was going on. I was going through depression. That was like my darkest days during that time.
You were going through the motions of the program, and I didn't like to see that.
Yeah.
You know,
and it wasn't the program, it was just I was
stressed,
broke,
yep,
in debt, looking for sales, cold calling, getting that fear, all of that crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what I was doing. It was just crazy, and you got me right in the spot. and you believed in me, and I felt it, and that was like a rocket for me. Like I just exploded. I didn't care. I just went and exposed myself, started communicating to everybody what I did, and got that confidence, and that was really a game changer for me.
I'm glad, Jose. You know, the salespeople sometimes get the word no all mixed up, and I always like the psychological side of sales, because when a client tells me no, I don't see N-O, I see K-N-O-W. That they need to know more, you know. That's the no, because when they give you the word, you don't see the spelling. You know what context they use it in, yet you can shift that in your mind. They need to know more. They're not saying no, I want to know, I want to know. They're not saying no. They're saying, tell me more, give me more information. I don't have enough information yet to buy your product, so I need to know more.
Yeah.
And I'm just helping them out, right? And
yeah.
They, you know, that's kind of the way I've always looked at it and taught other people.
I think that having because I know I can help so many businesses, mm-hmm, and I research every day, and I see so many opportunities to help businesses, and I know I do it very good because I have mentors that are like a top in the industry, and I just didn't have that confidence. But because when I decided to transition to being an entrepreneur and starting my business, obviously there was a lot of arguments with family, friends, everything, and nobody believed in me, only my girlfriend. We were just going at it together, and then having that belief from you, that changed me, because I thought Bob has my back. Whenever I went to talk in front of people, sell my services, a sales meeting, whatever, I thought about you. I knew that if Bob believes in me, I cannot let him down. And so that's very powerful for me, and I'm trying to do it for other people,
very
giving
powerful
them that belief.
For me too. I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Thank you.
You're, like I've said this to you before. I've always felt like, from early in our relationship, like you were my son from Venezuela. You know, like, you know, it's just that's just the connection that we had. I still remember the day when I saw your registration come through for the class, Jose Raven at UF, the EDU at the end, this, and I thought, like, I wonder what this journey is going to be like, and then to find out more about you.
But and I knew it because when I was thinking, do I take it in? I wanted to take the course because I read the book already, and so I said, do I take it in Fort Lauderdale or I take it here in Gainesville? Because I was thinking of moving to.
Glad you did here.
I saw the instructors. I saw you and I saw the other instructor, and I didn't want to take it here in Gainesville, honestly. But I saw your profile on LinkedIn. I saw your content, and I said, I don't know. I need to take it here. And I even asked you, like, hey, do you teach it?
Yeah, you did ask me that. I remember that. We're going to take a break right here, just to take a couple of minutes and come back. We're coming to you live from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill here at Celebration Point, inside the coach's podcast room, a room that you can rent. You can actually bring your family or a group of, I think, up to 6 people and have dinner right here in this room, kind of a specialized event in your life. It's a beautiful, beautiful room, very quiet, absolutely perfect. And we also have Visors, the rooftop bar and grill upstairs, just an incredible place to be. So we'll be right back. This is MotivationU the Podcast.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your fault.
No,
I am calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
Jeffrey! This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client? Yes, but this one might be a little tricky.
On August 11th, our restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary, and we're inviting you to Celebration Point. Proceeds from the event will go to the Ronald McDonald House, and we'll have a spread of your favorite Spurrier dishes, as well as special guests, but you have to get a reservation. So go to spurriers.com right now and reserve your spot before it sells out. And thank you for a super first year. Go Gators.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Welcome back to MotivationU the Podcast. My name is Bob Ganzak. We're coming to you live from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill here at Celebration Point. My guest today is entrepreneur, Dale Carnegie graduate, UF student, Jose Raven from Venezuela. A wonderful young man that I've had an opportunity to get to know pretty good over the last year or so. You know, as you develop your company, now I can't guarantee it that he'll take your call because he's a busy dude, but reach out to my son sometime because he does the same thing that you do, and he's got many years of experience and has become extremely successul at what you might be able to pick up some tips from him, or just tell him how great his dad is. Maybe that's something else you want to do. But don't hesitate to do that.
Yeah, I'll reach out.
Jose, we talk so much about about leadership and about the people side of it and ordinary people that make a difference in life. We talked about Rosa Parks just a person that shifted. And I've read and studied over the last few weeks just about normal people. I think of 9/11, Todd Beamer, the guy that kind of headed up, fighting the terrorists on the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. Just an ordinary person doing extraordinary things. When we look at that, and we meet so many of those people in class. I also look at somebody like the lady that started Mothers Against Drunk Driving, how a tragedy, and she lost her 13-year-old daughter. Her name is Candy Leitner. She lost her 13-year-old daughter to an accident with a drunk driver. I can't imagine what that would be like. I mean, I really can't. An ordinary person who found inside of her the ability to make something positive out of something negative. Leadership. I mean, she started, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, which is a huge, organization now where they've done so much to bring to light, how many people are killed by drunk drivers. I'm sure they've gotten a lot of laws changed in many states across the country, all because of somebody that had a tragedy in their life and they used it for a positive for other people.
Yeah.
And that's when you and I were having that discussion that day during class, that you can make the difference in people's world. You've got to decide that you want to.
Yeah.
You've always wanted to. You had to decide that you can do it. Ordinary people making a huge change in people's lives.
I think that's what you were talking about. So many distractions that don't let us think about what we want to do, and we're just distracted and every day just getting fed by whatever online, and that makes our decisions for us. So I think that's the main thing, just getting out of those distractions and starting to think and give it, because it's not easy, right? Like I've been thinking a lot for a year now, what I want to do, what impact do I want to have. So I think that's really important, just giving it thought, as simple as it sounds. For ordinary people, I don't have anyone that comes to mind right now.
Well, think about it. Just what you were talking about. I think of, what's the lady's name that wrote Harry Potter?
J.K. Rowling.
Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, her background is that she was pretty much, I believe, divorced mother, single mom, struggling to make ends meet, financial doldrums.
Yeah.
And decided to pursue a dream of hers, and believe in herself. And wow, look at the impact she's made, not only in the books, but in the character, movies, actors' lives, different people, foundations now that she gives money to, all because one person believed in themselves.
And she got rejected 12 times.
Oh, Stephen King was the same way. I mean, I think Carrie was his first book that people told him, give it up, give it up. James Patterson was working at an ad agency, and he would write these books and he would write these stories, but he never produced them. you know? And finally, I believe it was one of his employees or one of his fellow people on the staff at the ad agency that said, you should try that. And I mean, look at the career that person has made. So, you know, we're all at that point. Ordinary people. And it's not like it's not like just luck. You know, J.K. Rowling, it wasn't just like luck was bestowed on her. She totally believed and stepped out of her comfort zone and took that risk, a calculated risk, and sought that. So you keep going on that. You know, don't give up. I think of the guy, I think he was like a security guard. I wrote about him, the gentleman that noticed a piece of tape in 1972, right? A long time ago. He noticed a piece of tape that was over a lock at a room at the Watergate Hotel in Washington. And he took the piece of tape off. And then he noticed the next day that piece of tape was there again. Somebody was doing something. That notice led to a president resigning. You know, a couple of years later, Richard Nixon, you know, resigned. If that ordinary person doesn't stand up or make that known, that entire part of our history never exists.
Yeah.
Think about that. You know, just think of the people in your life that you come across, people in our classes that just have that potential to make a difference in other people's lives, or maybe just becoming your friend, they made a difference in your life.
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend, she's since the first day that we met, she's always supporting anything that I do. When I was in the university, like in classes, engineering classes, I would send her like my programs that I just coded, a picture, a video, how it works, and she was just so excited and supporting me and anything that I've done in between, she's always unconditionally just always supporting. And that's one of the most influential factors that I've had in my drive to just keep going. So that's
that empowering people. You remind me of you're drawing some of these thoughts on. I remember. Oh, you wouldn't remember this because you weren't even born then. When the AIDS crisis started, one of the people that brought AIDS awareness to the world was a young man named Ryan White. And Ryan was having a blood transfusion and contacted AIDS through that. And he was fighting that. And it was Elton John that stood up and came to his bedside, and it was a combination of those two, that just brought awareness to the world, because it was kind of a subject matter that was, talked about, not in front of microphones or, and AIDS. And it empowered, just kind of what you're saying too, somebody else, Ryan's bravery to fight that and the story of his family to make that aware. And then Elton John stepping up. I don't remember all the details, but those combination of two things were huge impact on the entire world. Another ordinary person. So your girlfriend brings that out in you, and who do you try to bring that out in? Who are the people that you touch, that you affect their life in a positive way?
I have this here. Oh, I don't have it in my card. I left it in my house, but I have a little card with my purpose. what I think right now is my purpose, and it's just valuing people and adding value to their lives. So anybody that I come in contact, I'm trying to give some value in any way that I can. And so I'm doing it with my family, doing it with my friends, with just whoever I talk to. I'm trying to help, give some value, not help, but like if I can do something positive, that's what I'm trying to do. And that's the experiences that I've had. There was a friend that he studied in Venezuela. He came now to the US, and he's studying for an exam to do a master's degree, and he really doesn't know what he wants to do. He's just doing it basically for, pleasing the family and everything. So he was anxious, and we started talking, and I started asking question, and I barely mentioned that I meditate. I meditate every day.
Yep.
And I mentioned it and sent him one of the videos that I had just used, YouTube videos. And I never expected that he was going to meditate. Never. And then 2 weeks later, I'm talking to him, and I'm kind of like lose faith sometimes with trying to have a positive impact, because we talk and we have like an inspiring conversation, and then it just fades away. And then he says, I meditated, and I'm meditating now every day, and it's helping me so much. Like I feel more confident now, and I was like, whoa,
Yeah,
I didn't expect this.
Scary part of leadership is that people actually listen to you. That your words have an impact on people, and so you want to be cognizant of them being positive. Imagine, Jose, all of us, Tammy, Evan, you, me, Andrew, whoever is around, all of us living in a way where we make a positive impact on others' lives. I'll give you an example. Since the middle of June, I left Georgia, left my house in Georgia, went up to Atlanta, spent a night there, spent about a week in Detroit, came back for a day, then went on to Miami for a few days, over to Naples, came back, spent pretty much a better part of 2 weeks in Jacksonville, then went last weekend back down to Estero, Florida, spent some time down there with my son. Now I'm here in Gainesville, going back to Jacksonville tonight. And I look upon that as that you can leave a trail. You can leave a trail of positivity everywhere you go. I know that the hotel in Atlanta that I stayed at, I had a positive interaction with the person behind the counter, tried to make their day better. The people that worked up in the hotel in Troy, Michigan, tried to leave that in a better place. You can do that just with your smile. I was given 2 free tickets to a Miami Marlins game. Use any time you want. I can't get down to the Miami Marlins game, but the person behind the counter at the Aloft Hotel was so kind and helped me so much, with getting coffee and different things, that when I left, I just gave them the tickets. And it was like, wow, you make an impact on people's lives, and you can leave that trail everywhere you go. And if we all concentrated on that, I believe the world would be a better place. I don't know your thoughts.
Yeah, 100%. It's so fulfilling. And sometimes I get driven by money, just get the money to pay the bills and be able to afford the lifestyle or whatever. And I start to get driven by that, and then I start to go crazy. And then I get the bad days and the negative self-talk and all of that. And then I have one of those experiences. I try it like in supermarkets, when I talk to the cashier, whenever I talk to anybody, I try to have a conversation and to see if we can make something positive out of the conversation. And when I have those experiences, it's so fulfilling, and I realize that that's what I want. It's not money, it's having those relationships, just having that positive meaning in life.
Yeah, think about it. Just go back to those first 9 principles, or just take principle number 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just take those. Become genuinely interested in people. Smile. Use their name. Be a good listener. Get them to talk. If you are talk in terms of their interests. Make them feel important, no matter who they are. And don't do it to manipulate them. Do it to leave the world a better place. When you walk out of that the Publix or the CVS or wherever you are, and you walk out of that place, to leave it better than it was than when you walked in. And you don't have to reconstruct it. You don't have to spend $1 million. You can leave it a better place by just leaving some positivity, a smile, a good word, encouragement.
Yeah. Then the cashier talks to the other, and the other talks to the other, and then they start laughing and
yeah. And I don't even think about this. I'm just thinking about it now as we're talking. It's not my driving force, but I wonder if at night when they're winding down, having a cocktail with their friends, or just sitting in front of the TV set with their family, and they say, I had the nicest person walk into the store today. I don't even know what the person's name is. They just had this smile on their face, and they were just so friendly, and it really made my day. That to me is like,
yeah,
that's money.
It's way more than money, and then money is not even a problem.
Well, the bank doesn't let me pay my truck payment with it yet. It's still something that is just, you can make a positive impact on a human life instead of ripping them apart and tearing them down. Evan and I were talking, and last thing, we'll wrap up the program after this. Evan and I were talking earlier before we started today, just how we are so quick to cancel people today. Everybody's got a big, you've got a whole life. And because one sliver of it somebody doesn't agree with, they X out everything other part of it. Think of a pie chart that is cut into 1% pieces. So it's 1% of these pieces, right? And you take one of those there's 99% other part of that. You take one of those slices, one word, one sentence, one thing they did, and you cancel them totally. And there may be a whole bunch of things in there that you agree with, but we don't look at that. And we've got to get back to that in our life. And I hate the media. I hate the media. I think they just like to stir the drink because it makes them more money, and all they are in is for corporate greed.
Taking advantage of how our brains work.
Our brains and our insecurities and our faults and our sensitivities and our fears.
So doom and gloom.
and they have the ability to do that because they are some of the most creative geniuses in the world. They just go watch Maverick, the last Top Gun movie, and imagine the people that put that together and the vision of that. They are the same type of individuals that are putting on your nightly news. And the same people that are putting Spider-Man out there, and they make people fly and everything else. They know how to control your brain. and they do a great job of it. And they're doing it so that you get addicted to watch that over and over and over again. And then they can go to their sponsors and say, Jose Raven watches me 18 hours a day. If you want to reach Jose Raven, you need to advertise on my show. We know how to get Jose to watch me for 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's what they do. It's got him.
There's no escape.
Reel them in. So we've got to get away from that and start just treating people like humans and appreciating who they are, even if we differ in our political viewpoints, our religious viewpoints, or anything else. We have to find areas to connect with others.
Yeah. There's a quote that says, what we see in other people is what is unseen of us. And I've been thinking about it because whenever I see something negative about somebody else, it probably says more about me than them.
Yeah.
And then we cancel out them, as you say.
I mentioned this in class before, the quote that we judge ourselves on our intentions and we judge others on their actions.
Yeah, I love that one.
You think about that. I meant to do good. Oh, did you see what she did? That type of thing, where we do that. Jose, I appreciate you spending the last hour with me. I really do.
Appreciate you.
This was just, something that just came about.
I could spend hours here listening to you.
I love having conversation with you. It just, you bring out thoughts in my mind that I love that conversation. I really do.
Thank you.
I really do. And keep on selling the Dale Carnegie classes. We need a big one. It's one of those things that the more people we train, the better our communications in the community is going to be. Freddie Wiebe has been a huge help to that, and he wants to make an impact on this community. My friend who is the mayor of Valdosta, Scott Matheson, wants to make an impact on his community. So we're going to be working on there. I had a good friend who used to be the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce in Lake City, Danielle Decker. Danielle wanted to make an impact in her community. We did a lot of programs there. I'm working with Matt Thompson now to put classes together in Jacksonville where we want to make an impact in that community. And
that's awesome.
And the more impact we can make, the better it's going to be. So
I'm having all of my family take it. My parents in Venezuela, my older brother in Venezuela, in Caracas, they teach it there. And my youngest brother, I'm pushing my parents to get him in the class.
I don't know if I've met our franchisee in Venezuela. I know I've met the franchisee in Colombia, Monica Salazar, a very sharp lady, very, really intuitive into business and the program. So, but I'll have to look up who our person is in Venezuela.
Jexabel is her name.
Really? The name again?
Jexabel.
Okay. I will.
I have my parents coming to visit the coming weeks, and I'll figure out a way to get them to meet you, to know you.
Oh, I definitely will. Maybe we have a Raven family reunion on a podcast here one of these Thursdays that we could do that.
Yeah, I would love to.
I appreciate it. I want to thank you very much for sharing this time with us. My name is Bob Ganzak. For Tammy, our engineer, for Evan, the guy that's the glue to keep us all together, for our friends here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill who treat us wonderfully. This is MotivationU Podcast.